Hello again folks, Damien Jones here again for you today, and today I wanted to share these vintage Robin Hood figures with you from Kellogg's. There were 6 of them to collect, and we're going to go over them all in turn just now, but I want to tell you about them first. Basically these were from the 1960s. You may remember these if you were a child back then, getting them inside your cornflakes. These were actually one of the, not the first, but certainly one of the first breakfast cereal premiums there will have been to collect. It comprises of a set here of 6 figures. You had obviously Robin Hood and Little John, Friar Tuck, Alan a Dale, the Sheriff of Nottingham lurking at the back here, and Maid Marian. They were all name stamped. If we take a look on the bottom, they're all name stamped on the bottom, and they have Kellogg's on them. And the reason for that is these were basically made by Crescent Toys. Now, Crescent Toys were a really big toy maker of the 1960s. They were actually probably in the same line, in the same league as Cherylea. Now these 6 figures that were available with Kellogg's, right, they were available in these colours that you see them in only. That's 2 green figures, 2 red figures, 1 brown and 1 beige, and those were the only colours that these figures were ever cast in. You're not going to say you're not going to find, say, a green Maid Marian or anything like that. Not with these early ones anyway. Now, if you were to buy these, basically not get them free in the cornflakes, you were to get them from Crescent Toys, then they will have been hand painted as well as part of the finishing process. But the ones that you would have got inside your cornflakes will have just been like this. So we shall zoom in, we shall move them out the way, and we're going to take a look at them all individually and properly, and hopefully they may spark some memories of any of you guys that may remember getting them during the 1960s when you were growing up. Let's just because these are such small figures, they're only like I mean, Little Johnny is probably about the tallest one, and they are beautifully detailed, really high quality little plastic castings, as you can quite plainly see. As I say, here we have Little John, and like I said before, you can only ever get Little John in green plastic. Now, the Kellogg's premium versions of these, rather than the ones stamped Crescent Toys underneath, collectors of soldiers and things like that obviously like to have the Kellogg's variants of these, but the ones by Crescent Toys were so much more common. They're so much easier to find the painted versions of these. Although these aren't a terribly rare set, to try and find if you collect cereal premiums. or you know, just little soldiers in general. There were millions of them chucked into, you know, your cornflakes. And as I say, to tell that yours was a premium and not one actually made by Crescent Toys, you'll notice that it's got Kellogg's on the bottom, and also the name of the character, which is a big help, isn't it? So here we got a rather nicely detailed Little John, or not so Little John, as he was a big guy. We'll put him to one side. Next we had Eleanor Dale, who basically was the character in the Robin Hood stories that would play his lute, or banjo, whatever you want to call it. Again, beautifully detailed little figure, and the name stamped Eleanor Dale and Kellogg's on the bottom. And again, with the Kellogg's variation of this figure, you can only get it in red plastic. And this here as well, this is the entire set I've collected here. So that's Eleanor Dale. Next up, probably my favourite, is the fabulous Friar Tuck. That is a lovely detailed figure, isn't it? Really charismatic little face, or little podgy face. And he came with this club. Now often this club is broken off, so you know, if you're going to decide to collect these or whatever, if you find one and this club is broken, you're probably best holding out for a complete figure like this. So there he is, the charismatic Friar Tuck. Next up, in the beige plastic, is the beautiful Maid Marian that Robin is always fighting for the honour of. Lovely detail to costumery, and the figures, they've got this lovely illusion of motion about them, the cape blowing in the wind there dramatically. So there's the lovely Maid Marian. Again, much rarer for the Kellogg stamp on the base. And the next figure in the series, although we can't really see him here, but then again he is a figure of darkness anyway, we have the evil Sheriff of Nottingham. Beautifully detailed figure, nicely moulded figure again. Again with this one, often the sword is nibbled or bent, and sometimes the plume in the hat is missing, so if you're collecting, hold out and get a decent one. You know, if we're collecting these things, we may as well have them in nice condition, isn't it? And finally, ladies' favourite, Robin Hood himself there, with his longbow in his Lincoln green, and you can only get this figure in green as well, with his quill of arrows on his back and his sword on his belt. Really rather nice little collection of early 1960s premiums. Did oops, that's better. Did you remember collecting any of these? Anyone that watches me that grew up in the 60s? Do you remember these? Does this spark any memories for anyone out there? Or did you have the Crescent Toys versions of these figures painted in full colour? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you've enjoyed this video, give me the thumbs up and give me a subscribe so you'll be sure to know when I next upload. But for now though, my name's Damien Jones. This is Robin Hood and his merry men from Kellogg's. Thanks for watching.